And someone I consider to be a pretty good friend is Tom Izzo, the Hall of Fame basketball coach at Michigan State. And Tom and I have had many arguments about the way the world is changing and the impact that is having on sports, particularly in the area of social media. And I understand and respect where he's coming from. What he will tell you is my players are looking at all of this stuff that is being said to them on Twitter, and people are saying horrible things, and it's just a disgrace, the stuff that is being said to my kids on Twitter, his players. And I keep saying to him in response, I get it. That's true. The key here is stop looking at it. Like the mentions button, the ability, you are making a conscious decision whether to look at those mentions or not. And if you don't, then the result is basically the same as if it never happened at all. And what Tom will say is that's not the way college-age kids are wired today, and I get it. He's right. Tom and I have had this argument and many others, and it comes from a place of total respect. I respect him as much as I respect anybody. No one's heart is in the right place more than he is, whether I think he's right or wrong on any issue. So someone brought up to him the idea that in the wake of what happened with Juwan Howard and Greg Gard and that whole mess, that they should do away with the handshake line, that maybe we don't need to have that anymore. And that came up to Tom. And when I heard the question, I ducked. I ducked before he started answering it, and his response did not disappoint.
There are suggestions, silly as they may be, that we should do away with the handshake line now.
Oh, my God.
Have you heard that?
Oh, my God, I have. And I do got to comment on that, since that's not insulting to anybody. That, to me, would be the biggest farce, joke, ridiculous nature of anything I've ever heard of. We've already taught these poor 18-year-olds that when you're told to go to class and you don't like it, you can leave. We've already told these kids if you're not happy, you can do something else. We've already told these kids that it's hard to hold them accountable, and now we're going to tell them to not man up and walk down a line on someone who's kicked your butt and have enough class to shake their hand is utterly ridiculous. So if the president said it, I think he's full of it. If the best coach in America said it, I think that gets me way more than this incident, because we're already teaching these kids nothing, and then we're going to do something like that.
So there's Tom, and again, not disappointing with his frustration. And I kind of agree and kind of disagree. And that's what I mean when I say I think we're talking about a world in which the horse is already way out of the barn on this. So now let me answer the immediate question, which is up on the screen. Should we do away with the handshake line? My answer is I don't think it makes any difference one way or the other. The handshake line is just, at this point, a formality. I heard Jeff Van Gundy say it on a podcast. I'm not going to take the time to play it, but he was like, that's not real sportsmanship. Walking down that line and just shaking everyone's hand. I mean, my son played in these AAUs forever. And you walk down the line, you just, good game, good game, good game, good game, good game, good game, and then we're going to go get, when they're little, go get orange slices, and then on the way up the road. That's not really sportsmanship, right? Coming over to someone that you played against and having a real genuine moment with them, that's much more sportsmanship. The way you actually conduct yourself while the game is being played is sportsmanship. The exercise of shaking hands afterwards, the way they do it, it's fine with me if they... I don't see any reason to get rid of it because this happened, but I don't think it's critical. But I think what Tom is talking about is a bigger issue here, which is that just the entire scope of collegiate athletics, the understanding of what it means, what it stands for, what the coaches are there to imbue in the players, I hate to say it. It breaks my heart to say it, but I think it's kind of a dated idea. Like what Tom is saying is right. We probably are better off as a society if the coaches are approaching this the way he does. But you can't coach someone who will not be coached. You cannot teach someone who refuses to learn. You cannot treat someone in a way that they will not allow you to treat them. And I just think the world in which we live today, that's just not realistic. And that is not unique to sports. It makes me sad to say it, but I think that's where we are. So again, whether we do the handshake or not, I think is secondary at maximum. But what Tom is really talking about is something that I fear we have lost and are never going to get back again. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I will say this, just as someone who played Division II college baseball, I was in that 99% that went pro in something other than sports, obviously. And the student-athlete experience did mean something to me. And the coaching I received did mean something to me. So there are certain people for whom it means nothing. But there are a lot of people like me who are not super famous and don't get to play in these leagues and make millions of dollars, for whom it did mean a lot. And so I'm somewhat sympathetic to Tom Izzo's perspective because I lived that in some way.
No, I agree with you. But what he's saying is that it used to be you had no choice but to be coached. And now you made the choice. You made the decision to allow yourself to be coached. That power dynamic is the opposite of what it historically has been. There's more to talk about here. We will. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.